Would I date somebody if sex was completely off the table?
Probably not.
No.
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 I would never date someone if sex was off the table.
How long would I wait?
2 hours.
3 dates?
Second or third date?
Roughly 3 months.
I think it depends on the situation.
I have sex at least 5 times a week. Sex in the relationship is very important to me.
Sex is like a delicious peach. Why would you not want to have a bite?
If no one was having sex, Tinder wouldn't exist.
If you're not having sex, you're just hanging out with a friend, aren't you?
I could go the rest of my life without having to have sex. We're both virgins and getting married, so sharing with people that I haven't had sex, I'll never forget that awkwardness and that tension.
When I tell people I'm asexual, they look at me weird sometimes and think I don't know what I want. I've never had sex properly before.
Some people that don't believe me when I say that waiting for marriage.
I need to be really comfortable to have sex with someone. When a man says that, some women think, oh, what, am I not attractive enough for you?
I felt that my virginity was a bit taboo.
The way that people have fetishized my vagina, my vaginal pain. They're like, oh, can we just try anyway? Like, oh, I bet you're so tired. Like, blah. People that have fetishized me in the past because of my pelvic pain can suck my dick.
When I talk about being demisexual, first question I usually get is, oh, can you still have sex?
One guy saw demi in my profile and it's like, so demisexuality, is that just a fancy way of saying you're not a slut?
And come to the sex part and I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't feel this. Sometimes they get angry or upset or cry, but no one understood that I just wasn't into sex.
I have gone at least a week without sex or more. Don't necessarily enjoy it, but I can imagine it. You can have romantic sex, you can have compassionate sex, you can connect to someone through sex. So my partner, that's a bond that through sex, I instantly felt that bond. We both kind of know that if one of us isn't really feeling it, but the other one is, we'll go for it anyway. Maybe we wouldn't have sex every day, we'd have sex like 2 times a day or something. But we do have a lot of sex. I love that my partner has the same libido as me. There's nothing worse than being rejected, particularly by someone that you really love.
You have to have the same sexual chemistry. Like, that's a part of relationships that can make or break a relationship. It's definitely something you need to know before you sign on the dotted line.
I need to see what's under the hood. It's a very important part of a relationship, and I don't want any nasty surprises when I've invested a lot of time.
It's kind of what distinguishes you from having a friend or a flatmate to a partner.
Sex is part of life. It's part of intimacy. It's part of any healthy relationship. So if they don't want to have sex, then it's like, bye, see you later.
The idealistic side of me says, sex isn't everything. The caveman, lizard brain part of me says, must have sex.
It's one about base commands, really. It's in MS-DOS, like, have sex. Like, I don't actually understand people who don't like sex. I'm not saying there's anything wrong, it's just I can't comprehend that because it's a lot of fun and it's free, generally.
I wasn't very sexually open in high school, and then when I hit 18, that whole idea of waiting to have sex with someone who's really special, I don't want to do that anymore, I just want to have sex. So I got Tinder, just kind of went for my life.
There's a prerequisite for like dating apps, like, okay, you date, you have sex. The person I'm talking to eventually is going to want to have sex.
Some people go in with that intention in mind. Most of the guys on Tinder, myself included, no.
Yes, I did find that some guys are just after sex, and so for me, obviously, that would be a deal breaker.
Online dating is a complete show. There's a very small pool of straight single men who are looking for something longer than 2 hours.
Do I get frustrated that people equate dating with sex? No, I don't. I think it's probably the majority of the population now. I narrowed my choices down to a Muslim dating app. There were still men who popped up wanting casual sex and then let's see how it goes. One really interesting guy was actually an Australian who had apparently converted to Islam. During the conversation, let it drop that I really like brown girls. I really like women in hijab. He had no issues with sex before marriage.
I put myself as biromantic, so I was open to males and females, and a guy said in his spare time he likes to masturbate. Then he asked me if I was circumcised. I'm thinking, what does this all got to do with me, like I just want to talk to you.
I've been offered things in return to have penetrative sex with me just to try to feel what it's like. I've had people sending me like dick pics.
I had not received a dick pic until last year. It was like, you know, this penis wiggling around with little stars around it. Why would you bedazzle your dick?
Why would you send a dick pic unless I asked for it? Do girls honestly think, or guys, like, wow, this is like a masterpiece. The moles, the hairs, the nature of the folds is just, oh, amazing. Like, no.
I remember one gay fella sent me a dick pic. Now I know what women feel like. Tinder is like meeting someone in a club. Yeah, sure, you lock eyes, you match, whatever. You go up to them, say hi, ghost.
It's the swipe game. It's the, it's trawling through until hopefully you find someone that you're compatible with.
It's kind of like when you become addicted to junk mail. You hate receiving the catalogues, but you can't help yourself from flipping through the pages and just seeing if there's anything you want.
They've turned us into arseholes. You get on there and you flick, and you might end up matching with 3 people. The moment one person says something that you don't like, instantly you just sort of ignore them.
I find a lot of men would love to chit-chat and be pen pals forever. I've never understood why they just want to keep text. Like, why? You can ask me all these questions when we meet in real life.
The whole rigmarole of, hey, how are you? How's your day going? Where are you? Etc. And that used to be really quite tiresome, especially because that's when I discovered that a lot of the men that matched with me hadn't actually read my profile.
It felt like a meat market. Most of them was like swipe left, swipe left, swipe left.
My advice, don't go on the apps.
Other than penetrative sex, things that I do, BDSM, power reversal, power play, toys, fingering, kissing, nibbling, grinding, mutual masturbation, masturbation by myself, oral sex, anal sex, ass eating, kink, pegging. Sex is more than P and V. It's more than penetration.
I wouldn't say that I'm like looking for sex, like, because no one really wants to say that on Tinder. Everyone knows it, but you don't say it. Kind of open with it after you say hello in your initial message. Being like, hey, so I really just want to have sex. This is what I'd be down for. This is what's not okay. Are you keen? I think it's important to declare up front just what you want. Having sex on the first date, big for me, because I have a high sex drive. I'm a big fan of the post-sex talk. It really opens up like who they are and like what type of role they like to take in sex, shows you what their vulnerabilities are.
I don't regret casual sex at all because I got to experience different dicks. But when a woman has casual sex, she is viewed as a slut, as a skank, as a whore, and it's not right.
Would you shame your sister? Would you shame your mum? Why are you shaming me? I think there's definitely still a double standard of men want to go around and sleep around and that's okay, but women are just meant for finding a relationship. Women have so many different experiences when it comes to sex, and I definitely think that women should talk about sex more.
I was 25 years old when I lost my virginity. Everyone around me had already had sex. I really felt that I was the last virgin on earth. When I started dating my now husband and he asked me how many sexual partners I had, I told him 13 because I thought that by then I should have had 13, but I was lying and he was my first one. What was funny was that he said that he had 5 sexual partners, but I had to commit to the fact that I had said 13. We didn't find out till a full year later that we were both each other's firsts. It wasn't like I was a prude. It wasn't from religious aspect or anything like that. I just wanted to like the person that I was having sex with, and I don't think that was too much to ask for.
Inevitably, people ask you. Inevitably, people say, oh, like, are you dating anyone? Or, what? You haven't slept with anyone? And it can be a bit of a nerve-wracking moment, but if anyone asked me, I would just straight up say, like, yep, I'm waiting for marriage. My faith permeates everything that I do, and the Christian perspective is dating has a very specific purpose, and that purpose is marriage.
We are a part of the Coptic Orthodox Church.
Our relationship was based on understanding each other, and then the sex will be like on top of all of that. It is a journey that we are sharing together.
Saying I am a virgin, I haven't had sex, was no big deal. But absolutely, for a lot of people, sex before marriage is the norm. And I respect that.
So in alignment with my values, I would not consider having sex outside of marriage. My marriage ended around May 2011. Some of my friends from different faiths were of the opinion that the rule of no sex before marriage only applied if you were a virgin. And now that I'm no longer a virgin and I'm a mum, the rules don't apply anymore.
The idea of sex kind of makes me feel icky and grossed out. Asexuality is basically the lack of sexual attraction. Some people have sex occasionally, some people don't have sex at all, and the spectrum is huge. Yeah, that's when I realized I was demisexual.
As a demisexual, I need to have an emotional connection with a person. I might still think you're good looking. I might still think you're a nice person. I don't want to have sex with you.
It could take years, it could take months.
You could be good friends with someone and after 5 years, suddenly you have feelings for them and then you're attracted to them.
Vaginismus is where the muscles in and around the vagina tense up. Simple things like using a tampon is sometimes honestly not possible. Any type of penetration there, right?
At different stages and wasn't able to have any penetration and it felt like knives in my vagina. For me, a lot of it feels like burning. I am now recovered, but I still have pelvic pain. Pelvic pain is way more common than people realize. It affects people of all genders. What I've done in situations where I've been pressured to have penetrative sex, like in the beginning, I just go along with it even though that I'd be in pain. And I really regret that. I didn't listen to what I was really needing and valuing myself. And that makes me sad for little me, to be honest.
I call it Cockholm syndrome because growing up, we're taught as females that when you get older, you're going to meet a guy, have sex, and this is the way it goes. I had no real interest in having a sexual relationship with anyone, but I did because it was what I was expected to do.
I remember one night, my then partner told everyone that I wasn't putting out. And they took my partner up the road to a sex shop and came back with a bag full of sex toys and they dumped it on the table and basically said, because you're not putting out, they're going to satisfy themselves this way. And I felt really small and put on a brave face like I had done all my life. The pressure to have sex as a man was huge. It was at a point where I wanted to become a eunuch, which means I wanted to cut my dick off. I really, really wanted to because I felt like I'd be free of this whole sexuality. I wouldn't have to play the games. I wouldn't have to have sex. I would be free.
I'd be lying if I said that I never found myself faced with temptation. When you're in love with someone and when the emotions are there, it gets exponentially more difficult.
Honestly, it's a crazy amount of discipline. There is nothing more powerful than a really good hug.
I give good hugs.
Yeah, he definitely does give good hugs, and the occasional kiss from time to time.
Basically, I don't have sexual fantasies, but I do have romantic fantasies.
Me being excited and aroused means that I'm really looking forward to our next date.
Sex is good, obviously. It's really good when you actually have someone that actually connects with you. Sometimes I just want to get to know people more, and I am the worst at reading body language. Like, it was the most awkward damn kiss for my first kiss. You know, it's like this. It's like, but it felt like this. My lips weren't even ready. I never expect sex. If it happens, then it happens.
It also depends on how you define sex, because that's not a one-size-fits-all mold.
Every individual wants to have sex in a different way. People often wonder what my sex life is like when I tell them that I've dealt with vaginismus or that I have pelvic pain. Let me tell you, honey, I still have those 5-hour sex sessions, 7 candles burning, fairy lights on. There's lots of kissing and eye contact and touching and orgasms for both parties involved. My sex life is juicy.
I am, I guess, looking for love.
I am looking for love.
I am absolutely looking for love.
My ideal relationship would be someone who would love me and I could love, and there would be no sex.
A guy who will go out to IKEA with me.
An egalitarian partnership.
Genuine friendship.
I hope I'll end up loving them.
End up like my big fat Egyptian wedding where they would eventually come into the church.
We kind of got to a point where we both realised that we love each other.
We're absolutely a normal couple. We just don't feel the need to have sex, and there's absolute power that comes with that. In a world where sex is so normal, being true to yourself is probably the most important thing you can possibly do.
You're the only person that can and should define you.
You are the boss. You are the ruler of your body. You are the one that gets to decide what happens to your body.
How do you feel now that we've had sex together?
Okay. Yeah, frankly, sex is good. Sex is really good.